stability. And the other place I saw this was San Antonio with Pop and Tim Duncan. When your superstar player is 10 toes down with the franchise and does what Giannis did, re-sign before the season even started, it took pressure off of the people that he wants to win a championship with. That's Coach Bud, that's Chris Middleton, and that's Drew Holiday. And so now you not only win the East, they've been knocking on the door the last couple of years. And Giannis is already a back-to-back MVP. They were already one of the best teams in the conference. They just couldn't get over the hump. But I believe him staying and then him improving his game. That also something that you want to give the coaching staff a lot of credit for. I see the one-leg jumper that he's now shooting, and he's not a knockdown three-point shooter, but he will attempt those shots. And last but not least, how about his free throws? You remember when people were teasing Giannis, counting when he was at the free throw line? Well, that was exactly one of the reasons why he's a champion today.
Yeah, those free throws in that clinching game were just amazing. I think it was 16 for 18, and I think that Giannis deserves a lot of credit for this, but the stability that you mentioned is important in Milwaukee because they've been building around Bud, Middleton, and Giannis for years now, and it seems like they got the right pieces. But Jalen, there is another team in the NBA that also has championship aspirations that did not make a playoff run last year, and that is the Golden State Warriors, and we have some video of something that we've missed so much. If you are a fan of basketball, you have to be a fan of the way Klay Thompson can shoot the ball, and he's back. Klay Thompson on Instagram getting buckets. Jalen, we always say that success is a function of realistic expectations. What are your expectations for this Warriors team when they add Klay and get the Splash Brothers back together?
The ultimate wild card in the Western Conference, the ultimate joker in any deck. Because you want Denver to get Jamal Murray back healthy to go with the reigning MVP Jokic. Spider Mitchell is going to continue to improve playing with the Utah Jazz. The Clippers will not have Kawhi Leonard for certain periods of the season. So now a team like the Golden State Warriors, who have a championship pedigree with the Splash Brothers and Draymond Green, so many young draft capital equitable players that they've picked up over the last couple of years to go with Wiggins. Now they become the team that it says, hey, if Klay's healthy, then they have a puncher's chance, a shooter's chance versus anyone. But also, if he's healthy, you want the young players that they've drafted to continue to develop and now get some value. So if you could probably pair a Wiseman or one of your young players with the Wiggins and now go out and get a more established player to make another run in the ring.
So that's my real question about this Warriors team is, does this team that is going to be in training camp finish the season with the same roster? There's always rumors about moving Wiggins or pairing Wiggins with Wiseman. They drafted Kuminga. Do you think the Warriors make a move and bring in another star?
I'll tell you what to look for. Klay Thompson's productivity, his minutes per game, and his games played. If he's out there consistently and he's remotely playing like himself before the last couple of seasons that he unfortunately lost due to injury, then they make a move. If he's not, then they don't make a move. You now got to play up the value of the guys you've taken in the lottery the last couple of years and then rinse and repeat the same thing this time next summer because you have Steph Curry under contract for a few more years.
We always talk about the Western Conference and we talk about the Lakers and adding Russell Westbrook and the superstars that they have. But one thing I found interesting is when you look at the Vegas odds of who's going to come out of the Western Conference, the Warriors are right there at number 2 over the Suns, over the Jazz, over the Nuggets that you mentioned, Luka Doncic and the Mavericks. Are you surprised that they're so high in this pecking order, according to Caesars?
I am not surprised because of what I just said. They do have the Splash Brothers, and Steph Curry was top 5 in the MVP race last year without Klay. And Draymond Green was still one of the elite defenders in the league. They still have Steve Kerr as their head coach. And when you look at the other teams, they just haven't done it. You haven't seen the Dallas Mavs do it. What are they going to get from Porzingis? The Phoenix Suns had a terrific run this year. They re-signed Chris Paul. You bring back Booker. You want your young players aiding them to continue to take steps. So those squads are going to be in the mix, but we haven't seen them do it. We've seen the Golden State Warriors do it. And if Klay's playing and the Splash Brothers are remotely a version of themselves, they are in a position to shoot with anybody in the league.
Jalen.
Correct. And KD knows what the fans and media who question whether he should left OKC to join the Warriors, and they try to say win a real win. Win a real ring. They try to say he joined the bandwagon type of thing. That's one thing. But when it happens at your championship parade, that has to sting. And I think that moment right there is kind of what their interview ultimately embodied.
Absolutely. It was a great interview. Encourage everybody to check it out. It's on Bleacher Report. Great job by both Kevin Durant and Draymond Green. I will always support Kevin Durant's decision to go to the Warriors, to join one of the best teams ever assembled to win championships. If that makes him happy, then God bless him. Moving on to Russell Westbrook, who had a very interesting remark to say about his Lakers and some of the folks that questioned their experience, we'll call it. Quote, "We got a team full of nice, experienced vets that's going to kick these young bleep Jalen Rose." What do you think about Russell Westbrook's confidence in his veteran-laden Lakers squad?
David Jacoby, you know how this works in basketball. It don't matter where they're playing. When the old guys come to the court and they still got some game and they got their own built-in team, they might not be able to play 10 games, but they're going to dominate those 5 games. That's what he's talking about. The 82 games, Russell is going to be going 100 miles and running. And a lot of those fast breaks, he's going to be out in front of the pack. And rightfully so, because he doesn't necessarily play his age. He's going to be at home. Russell, this is going to be like on steroids. Imagine wherever your favorite energy drink is, or caffeine, or whatever. Russell's going to be that times playing in front of his home fans. A final. But never overlook, and I got to make sure I always do this, the Milwaukee Bucks. Because what I saw Giannis do this year was truly special.
Well, Jalen, when you look at this Lakers team, right, LeBron James, before the injury, was the MVP leader. Like, it was basically him and Embiid neck and neck for the MVP. He's aged, but his game is still as effective as it ever was. Russell Westbrook, do you remember what he did with the Wizards? Played 30 games with the Wizards and absolutely tore it up. He's still at the peak of his powers. AD, you mentioned, in his late 20s. I would say Carmelo Anthony's game has suffered due to his age, but the main three are still the peak of their powers. Is LeBron as explosive as he used to be? No. So I don't doubt this team because of their age. I think they kind of make up this narrative. But you mentioned, look at the odds in the Western Conference. They are favored. Not just by a little bit, by a lot. Look at this, plus 170. Then it goes all the way to plus 450 for the Warriors. So it is basically the Lakers and the huge gap, and then everybody else in the Western Conference. Like you said, I would be shocked if they did not represent the West in the finals. And if that wasn't the case, it is mostly due to injury, not because of roster construction.
Well said, and I agree. And what you said about Melo, one thing he has done is reinvent himself as a three-point shooter, over 40% last year.
Yep, and he's going to get a lot of catch and shoot threes, more than he's ever gotten in his career because of the creativeness of the playmaking of LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. Jalen Rose,